Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. Thanks for tuning in. It's me, Whimsy, with Tarot with Whimsy. I do hope everyone is taking good care of themselves. As you can see, I am here with my familiar, Miss Mila. She is having a nap, but rest assured in spirit, she is here with us. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on these days. Politically, both here in the United States and internationally. So we're going to go ahead and throw on that. A couple of nights ago, I did a meditation on Kim Jong-un. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, from North Korea. And it was kind of an interesting meditation because I felt like the dynamics between him and Trump are kind of collapsing. I got the impression that Kim Jong-un had been sold the dream, and now they were sealing the deal, kind of a thing. That he thought that Trump was going to help him make North Korea the next Boca Raton, and now it's dawning on him that Donald Trump is just a BS artist and has no intention of doing anything for North Korea. The response to that is that, like a 3-year-old child who gets anything they want if they have a temper tantrum, Kim Jong-un's response has been to start firing rockets in a threatening manner. You better come here and pay attention to this angry 3-year-old and give him what he wants. He wants condos in North Korea, and he wants business in North Korea. I think I read statistically that 40% of North Koreans live in abject poverty. So if you are going to play the kind of games that Donald Trump plays, seducing people, promising them the world, Trump has to realize that you can't always make those kinds of promises with people who are not emotionally stable, because when they realize that they've been played, they might retaliate in ways that we're currently seeing with the leader of North Korea. All right, so the first throw I'm going to do is just a general throw. I want to see what's going on in the United States, if we pick up any information about the investigation, the mood in the country, and let's just look at the collective. And specifically, I want to look at the collective from the perspective of, we'll just say, the average American. We're not going to pick sides today. Let's just do a general on the country. Got a nice little candle burning there. Some nice, good energy. What do we need to know today about what's going to be happening in the country next week? There's some concerns about war. We'll throw on that as well. What's going to be going on in the United States this week? Ten of Swords. Not good. The base of the matter today, people are worried about their investments. This is my Roth IRA card. I always look at this card and I associate it with my Roth IRA, my investments. Offers, peace, the Queen of Hearts comes. This is a time when people are trying to have reconciliation, and it's also a time when I would think that people are focused on the budget and they're focused on their retirement. So the focus is investments, and the focus is reaching across the aisle, or the Queen of Cups comes to teach us how to have a more open heart. This, by the way, is also a card that makes me think of Princess Diana. It's like the Queen of Hearts coming in, and then harvesting money also coming in. So that's actually positive in the sense that it's more of a desire to work across the aisles, a desire for peace and love and harmony, as opposed to something that would be more like swords, which would be more aggressive. Cups are thought of as romantic cards, but they're really about how human beings connect to one another emotionally. They're cards that have to do with emotion. Where we are at right now as a country, I think people are really starting to be afraid for the future of the country. There are a lot of things on our plate. People are working, but they're not seeing their salaries necessarily going up. This is a card that has to do with, as I've said before, stress, anxiety, stress at night, panic attacks, a feeling that one is vulnerable, which can sometimes descend at night. What's going to become of me? What's going to become of my retirement? There's a real fear in this country that people are going to lose their retirement or not have enough money to take care of themselves. I think we're going in that direction in terms of the stress over the country, retirement, and the vulnerability of an aging population, just because this card, the Seven of Pentacles, associated with how one harvests his money or one's nest egg. And what crosses it, again, inheritance. People are worried about their money, which leads me to think that there's some instability coming in terms of investments, inheritance, etc. What is over us? This card I always think of as the female judge. Nancy Pelosi is also the Queen of Wands. Seems to be an energy moving in for this week that's going to be prevalent, and what we sit in or marinate in as a country is a desire to go forward. So there is some frustration, I think, going forward, that we are not working together, that we're getting bogged down by other things, and what we need to be focusing on, the things that really concern Americans, is not being addressed. And where we sit in the past, a feeling of nostalgia, a desire to go back to a time that either never was or should have been or could have been. In the near future, there's a feeling coming into DC that there's a lot of soul searching. I really feel that the GOP is slowly beginning to extract itself from this administration. I don't feel that the president has the loyalty and the allies that he would like to believe he has. This is a time when the Hermit moves in of self-reflection, study, seeking knowledge. The fact that it's moving in with a card that is associated with Nancy Pelosi and Congress leads me to suspect that Congress, headed by Nancy Pelosi, is in an investigative phase. Or they're entering a phase of scholarship, knowledge. I know that New York is going to be releasing his state taxes, Trump's state taxes, but we'll have to wait to see how that plays itself out. The money, the King of Pentacles again. Ultimately, what unites the country is, I'm sorry to say, seems to be our genuine concern about money, investments, financial stability. Again here, our nest egg, what we harvest. It's all about our harvest. You know, to some extent, it also has to do with our spirituality or our ethos or our personal belief systems. That would be definitely how I would look at Hierophant. The fact that we are not always in agreement in terms of our spiritual beliefs, our religious beliefs as Americans, but our shared beliefs in the Constitution, our shared ethos, the indecision, Two of Pentacles. It's interesting when I look at the week ahead, it seems to be all about concerns about money. Money and fighting and arguing or discussions about, we're headed towards another argument about the budget. We're headed towards a potential conflict regarding the budget again. But slowly over time, I feel that Congress is going to be able to take control of the narrative in a way that they haven't in the past. All right, so now I just want to go ahead, and people are concerned about the fact that there's stuff going on with people going to Iraq, and concerns that we're escalating tension with Iran. Israel got bombed something like 200 times from, I believe, Hamas targeted Israel, and they're getting their weapons from Iran. Iran smuggles their weapons to their, they have these sort of armies, right? Hamas is basically a wing of the Iranian military. So is the Islamic Brotherhood. So now there has to be a retaliation because of those 200 bombs. So I just want to see if we're getting closer to war with Iran. Are we going to get into war with Iran? And of course, Iran is militarily aided by Russia. Where we are at right now, a new beginning. And the poverty card, or the exile card. Mastery, knowledge, trying to create a deal or work out an arrangement with somebody else that they may not be open to. Knowledge, the eyes opening. This looks to me like wisdom will prevail, and the tensions could potentially be averted. I don't necessarily see any kind of peace deal happening anytime soon. People are still holding on to their positions. However, I think that cooler heads will prevail temporarily because we can see a nice emperor energy moving in with a high priestess. However, I feel like the president is working in conflict with the efforts of our military forces to create peace. There's a conflict between what they're trying to do and the fact that the president's nature, the devil over hanged man, makes it very difficult to create a stable policy. That would be the best way for me to interpret these cards. Okay, so somebody had told me yesterday or the day before that they asked me, could you please look at Rod Rosenstein one more time because I'm really worried. I had a vision of Rod Rosenstein a couple nights ago in a meditation where I saw him in a black robe, and I thought, oh, that's cool. So let me meditate on why I'm seeing him in the black robe. What does it mean? Well, his biggest dream in life, I think, based on what I saw, was to be a professor. He fantasizes about being hired at some Ivy League university and being a professor teaching law. Like, he'd be very happy teaching law at Princeton or Yale or Harvard. That's his dream job. That's what he's hoping for. So if he's wearing a black robe, which is how he appeared in the vision, then it could be him at a commencement speech or something as potentially a professor at a college. It definitely would fit in with the fantasies that I saw Rosenstein had for his future. He really wants to be a teacher. He really likes the respect and admiration of being a professor. However, a black robe could also symbolize that he's been given an opportunity to be a superior court judge or even a Supreme Court judge in agreement to do something for someone else. So my concern is that seeing him in the black robe is possibly an indication that he's been bribed or promised a position on the courts. I don't know how to interpret the vision. So I'm going to throw on Rosenstein just to see if, just to see how he's doing, just to see if what's his future? What's Rosenstein's future? All right, Mr. Rosenstein, did you join the enemy? you going to be a professor or are you going to be a judge? His ethos. Abundance or wealth or fertility, but what's under him, his ethos, his values. He always gets the mastery card. He really loves to learn. He really loves to teach. He was born to be really more a teacher than anything else. He fears a subpoena. He's going to be subpoenaed. He feels that the nightmare won't end anytime soon. It's above him. He knows what's coming and he fears it. The tower is over him. It's coming, but it hasn't arrived yet. He wants to be victorious. What he comes out of, hanged man, that's probably because he just retired. What comes into his future? Anger. Anger, violence. An angry, violent energy is coming. The Knight of Swords, and it's crossing a tower card. So something aggressive and violent is around Rosenstein in the next 3 to 4 days. Trying to get to smoother water. This is like some poor government official that finds himself in a bizarre situation and then doesn't know, is over their head, which is often what happens when you're dealing with somebody who has a personality disorder like a sociopath, malignant narcissist. They sabotage everyone they touch. You can't win because they're the ones making the rules, and they always change the rules to suit themselves. So the only thing you can do with someone who has a personality disorder is run. Hopes and fears, a judgment is coming, and the final outcome, he will celebrate. He will survive this. He will survive this. Everything is going to come out, but Rosenstein is a survivor. And there will be legal consequences. Something about his testimony, or he will somehow give testimony, or the next few days, something's going to happen where he's going to be in the middle of some drama and he can't leave even if he wants to. He won't be able to get out of this. He will have to testify. What he wants to do is flee to safety, but that's not going to be the case. This situation won't leave him anytime soon. He will probably be okay, but unfortunately he's going to keep being drawn back to testify or to deal with this. It's right over him. He's getting it from both the Republicans who want to know why he created the Mueller report or hired Mueller, and he's also getting it from the Democrats. So he's really between a rock and a hard place. Okay, people, that is what I see. I wanted to do a really fast one on Trump just to see how he's doing. It's always interesting to see Trump's reaction to what's going on because it always surprises me. Things could be falling apart, but he seems fine. And I don't really always understand. He deals with life in a way that helps him cope with life, that doesn't necessarily have much to do with reality, but it works for him. Okay, let's see. What is going to happen with Donald Trump this week? Where he is at right now. Doesn't want to deal with Mueller. Two of Swords. Doesn't want to deal with Mueller. Doesn't want to talk to Mueller. What is over him? Frugality. Caution. The Ten of Cups is coming. Oh, he's got some international trips coming. Walking away from a conflict. Trying to make deals. Confused. He's often in a state of confusion. Somebody keeps offering him deals. The clarification. some kind of deal being arranged between him and the Democrats. There's a feeling like if he cooperates, they'll let him complete his term. That's possibly on the table. In plainer words, if he's willing to work more across the aisle, they may let him complete his term. That seems to be the way that I would interpret this. Business as usual. All right, so that wraps up today's video. Kind of interesting. We will just have to see. Looks like the Dems are getting organized, and Trump has one of two choices. He can continue to fight the Democrats, which will only make it worse for him, or he can try and work with them, in which case they would back off, let him complete his term, but it's unlikely he would be reelected for a second term. I think everyone running on the Democratic side scores a minimum of 6 points ahead of the president. So I'm not too worried at this point. I was also asked if I could talk a little bit about China and the fact that the Democrats have been saying, China, if you're listening, we want Trump's tax returns. I don't think that the Democrats really want the tax returns from China. I think the purpose of why they're doing that, and Biden had said, come on, the Chinese are not that bad, is really to goad the Republicans into being on the same page as the Democrats about securing the elections. And until the shoe is on the other foot, and until they realize that what happened to the Democrats could happen to them, they're probably not going to do anything about it. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're still trying to get in for appointments, I do have appointments open for next week. You can find my information by going to Tarot with Whimsy, which is below. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.